Yeah.
And he believed in that model, even though he was right at the end of Savage. And so it was him, Keith, and then one of our former medical students, who's a great guy who I love to death, who was a real teacher, but he wasn't a researcher. Great guy. And of course, the one I was pushing was Alan, because I thought that he would try to regain the Savaston model, which he has. And that if we hadn't have gone this route, we were never going to do it. It just wouldn't be successful. So
as someone who only knows the Kirk years, what were some of the changes that he implemented to get us back to a more Savaston-like experience?
Well, he started spending more time, like the Friday afternoon conference, for example, more time with the students, more time, even though he's got a lot of push against him with I mean, he has to drive this economic train. There's no question about that. If you required now anybody that we're recruiting to write a grant and to have a grant, you'd have trouble getting the faculty. But he's trying to recruit people that are in that vein, a good example is people like Barvis, who of course we train, people like Stewart, who we trained. So that's his wish, that's his driving force, and he will be successful. It'll be harder, and we'll have to, of course, have a lot of people that are just here doing cases and that sort of thing. But he's trying to maintain getting the faculty to realize the importance of being in societies and being a contributor to the society. Because that's very important for the university, and he's just doing a great job. I mean, marvelous job with it.
When he first came, was there much resistance to some of the changes he was making? I know a few prominent faculty members left shortly after his arrival.
No, I don't think so. We had always turned out chairman. Now, we happen to have lost in a relatively short period of time some of our middle established faculty. But of course, those are the ones that are going to become chairman.
Right.
And so we lost Tyler. We lost Marconitis. We lost Becky. And I just hated when we lost Becky, because I worked with Becky since she was in the 8th grade. She was part of the TIPS program, Talent Identification Program that Duke was known for. But they're all doing wonderful jobs where they are, and that's their advancement. But yeah, we've lost people they're going to have to be very careful who they replace them with, because you can't replace them just with somebody that wants to do a bunch of this or that. That's not going to help us any. But I think Alan will be successful in this, because it's being very quickly realized that that model in the long run is our birthright. That's where we came from, these other things are too tenuous and we don't have any control over them.
Right.
We don't understand what the Affordable Health Care Act, what that's going to do to us, or what they ever replace it with, what that's going to do to us. But, we always want to maintain our strength being right here.
Mm-hmm. In the 1994 interview, you talked a little bit about the surgical residency, and today you talked about how that's one of the strongest legacies of establishment, both here and nationally. But in the 1994 interview, you talked about how proud we were as Duke, that they were at a strict dress code, that there was very high expectations, that everyone did 2 years of general surgery before doing orthopedics or neuro, and how the Q2 call was a feature of our program that selected people who were truly dedicated. Yeah. Residencies changed a lot in the last 25 years.
Oh, yeah.
Some out of our control, some within our control. Yeah. So how have you seen those changes implemented? What has that meant for surgical education and the future of our profession?
I think it's hurting us. It's hurting us. For example, plastic. Mm-hmm. Because at that time, the head of plastic being a friend of mine, one of my former residents, came and was talking to me about it. He said, I'm getting a lot of pressure to do 2 and 3. Mm-hmm. And some people even wanted to be 0 and 5. And I said, if you do that, you will end up with people that you're cranking out that are going to have a cosmetic clinic over a drugstore. You just aren't going to have the type of plastic surgeons that are doing things that you do, that we've done historically here. Things like developing microvascular surgery. Mm-hmm. We did that here. Things like head and neck reconstruction, reconstruction for children with head and neck deformity. These are not things that are going to make you a lot of money in plastic surgery, certainly not like augmentation or facelifts and that sort of thing. And so you will attract residents that want to go out and do that crap. And so he started out not requiring as much general surgery, and indeed that's what happened to him. He got a bunch of people he couldn't stand. And so...
Who was chair of plastics at this time?
That was Greg.
Greg George.
Yeah. And so when he tried to go back, and we got a lot of resistance, and there's even more resistance now. Yeah. Orthopedics came into the same thing. Right now, our joint replacers are booked up through the summer. Yeah. And they can crank those things out like that. And sure, they're making some minimal contributions in joint replacement, but they aren't doing anything else. They'll hire somebody as a PhD, but they don't have any research lab. Jim Urbanik had a funded NIH research lab for 30 years. Yeah. And so you just get a different type of resident, and you're turning out a different kind of individual. They're both all right, but it's what do we want to be?
It seems like these early tracks are becoming even more common now with cardiac surgery and vascular surgery starting in 2005 next year. So how do we maintain a institution of academic excellence while the general trend in surgical education is moving towards shorter, more focused pathways?
Well, it's got to come bi-directional. It's got to come from the chairman here, and it's got to come from the national organization, the American College. Now, the American College has already realized that this idea of us not turning out general surgeons is a disaster. And if you look right here have our so-called acute care surgery. It's crap. And it's crap across the country.